Hi and welcome back to my channel. This is actually technically a little bit of B-reel, but I wanted to talk about a couple of things before we get started. One being I'm filming a lot of videos today, or at least doing the voiceovers, so if my voice goes out and I have to switch to captions halfway through, that's why. The second is that this was clearly filmed a long time ago since I no longer have this nail extension set on, although I do have to say I miss it. That was a gorgeous set. But today we're going to be talking about Jill Stuart. Jill Stuart is one of my favorite J Beauty brands. If you love flower nose, you might want to check out Jill Stuart because their packaging is seriously gorgeous. This is J Beauty Princess makeup, and I have yet to run into a Jill Stuart formula that I don't like, which is why the higher end price tag is worth it to me. The packaging is gorgeous and the formulas are also equally as amazing. So today I have a haul for you. I made a big purchase right before the tariffs were announced, and honestly, I'm really glad that I did. We're starting with the Jill Stuart Pastel Petal Blush. For some reason, mine didn't come with the plastic wrapper. I'm not sure if it was a return. That was a little bit odd, but the product was fine when I opened it up, so I figured it was probably okay. I have the shade 02, and this is a little bit of a purpley pinkish blend blush, the type of thing where it fades from one color into the next. And can we just take a moment for the packaging? Seriously, that is the most beautiful packaging. If I remember correctly, these floral blushes were a part of Jill Stuart's spring releases, although it could also be the autumn releases. I really don't remember that well. Unfortunately, Jill Stuart is one of those brands that does seasonal makeup releases, meaning that if you miss a product once it sells out, it can be kind of hard to get your hands on it. I got all of my stuff from Ichiban Mart. Oh, sorry for that blood blister. If you didn't see my video from a couple weeks ago, then you don't know about this, but that's not a new freckle. That is indeed a blood blister. But like I was saying, Jill Stuart does a lot of seasonal releases, meaning that if you don't get your hands on a product before it sells out, it can be kind of hard to find. I usually try to find my stuff on eBay if I don't get it on the first sale, but Ichiban Mart generally has their stuff in stock for at least a couple seasons after the release is over. You can see that this blush is super sheer, which I really like. The Jill Stuart line has another set of blushes. I believe they're called the Bloom blushes, which are significantly more pigmented, and therefore I have to be really careful about using them. This is also a matte blush, which is fairly unusual for Jill Stuart. I feel like the majority of their blushes are shimmery, but this one is matte, and you can see that it just provides like a really nice watercolor wash of color, which I think is beautiful, especially for the everyday makeup look. This particular set of colors is also just super brightening on my skin tone, so I love it. This next product is another blush from the line that I mentioned earlier. This is the Bloom Mix Blush Compact. That's the full name of it. And this one did come with the plastic wrap, so yes, I do have confidence that this one was fully sealed when it was shipped to me. Like I said before, I do have experience with this particular line of blushes. The packaging is super unique and super pretty. It comes with this little charm that you can see right here that you actually attach to the compact itself. I'll show you what it looks like all put together. But you can see that it just has this super pretty, shiny, reflective crystal packaging. I have number 27 Whistling Azalea here, but these just look so gorgeous displayed on a vanity. I almost feel bad putting these inside a makeup bag or away in a drawer because I just feel like they should be seen. But yeah, I'm gonna struggle with the packaging a little bit, so we'll just skip through that part. And voila, there's what it looks like with the pendant attached. Super cute, and actually I did save my blush from falling once by grabbing that charm, so it is actually fairly functional. This one is much more neutral than the existing Bloom Mix blush that I have, which is why I wanted to get this particular shade. These blushes are shimmery, as I mentioned before, but the 5 colorway pan makes it really easy to customize your blush to your liking. So if you want a slightly warmer blush, you might stick to the left side of the pan, and if you want a slightly cooler blush, you might stick to the right side of the pan. And you can also mix by how light or how dark you want it. My only beef with this formula is that it's fairly powdery, so it does tend to mix into the other pans, as you can see from the way that it looks after I swatch it. It tends to mix in on itself very, very easily. Now, granted, I'm pretty lazy when I'm applying these, and I'm generally not applying it pan by pan or even just a few colors at a time. I tend to just stick a big old brush in there and mix it around. So is that on me? Maybe a little bit. Here's 3 separate swatches. On the right side, you have the right side of the pan, the left side of the pan, and the bottom is what it all looks like mixed together. I think this is a really gorgeous neutral shade that I'm going to get a lot of use out of on the everyday. But again, you can see how powdery it is. You do have to be careful not to get this on your clothes. I now have the Jill Stuart Dual Lucent Glow Setting Powder. This comes separately. It comes with the compact in one package and then the actual powder itself in a second package. That way it's refillable and therefore a little bit more environmentally friendly. Judging by that stunning snowflake, I do want to say that this is from the winter collection, but again, I really just have lost track of time and I don't know when exactly this is from. If I remember correctly, this comes in 2 different colorways, but I chose the lighter one since the golden shade looked a little bit too dark for me. This is a half and half pan, meaning that the left side is white and the right side is this sort of peachy pink shade. This is actually a super, I don't want to say glittery, but definitely a glowy setting powder. So if you're not into that, you won't like this. Jill Stuart makeup in general is pretty glowy. If I go too overboard, I kind of come out looking like a disco ball. But it is really easy to refill this packaging. You just take it out of that little plastic container and pop it right into the compact. The compact also comes with that super cute puff. Oh my gosh, I'm just throwing stuff everywhere. It does come with that super cute puff though, so it is really easy to use. You can see just how pearly that powder is just from the way that it shines in the light, but I'm going to swatch them separately for you and then swatch them together. It's actually really hard to tell once they're swatched out since they are so sheer, but you can see at the top of my hand there is the white side of the powder, the middle is the peachy, and then the third is all of them swatched together. But it is so sheer that it blends out super nicely, and I've used this to set my makeup a lot. Even though it's scented, my skin doesn't mind it. I now have the Jill Stuart Melty Shimmer Blush. This one is in 02 Sunny Vale, and honestly, this is so shimmery that I wouldn't count this as a blush at all. In my opinion, this is more of a highlighter, and I really like how compact this is. The packaging is still super beautiful, but it is small enough that it doesn't take up too much space on my vanity. Especially for something like a highlighter that's only going on targeted areas of my face, I don't need it to be a super big compact. I just take a little brush and I pinpoint this on the areas of my face where I want an extra glow. And this is really glowy, so you definitely have to be careful with where you're putting it. I chose a highlight shade for me specifically because I figured from the swatches that it was going to be really glowy. And it is, but it's also not glittery. It's this super translucent, fine glow that just looks like you have really healthy skin. This is absolutely beautiful, and I use this one all the time. I now have 2 lip balms from Jill Stuart. These are the Lip Blossom Balms. I believe these were from last year's spring releases, so about a year ago now. I have 04 Blossom Mood and 01 Baby Petals. One of these is actually a tinted balm, that would be 04, and 01 is a clear balm. Again, a moment for the packaging. I just love getting to pull these out of my bag and reapply. Here's the clear balm. It looks like it's going to be tinted pink, but it goes on completely clear, or at least it does on my lips since I have quite a bit of natural pigment already. I was really sad to swatch this and lose that gorgeous J imprint with the gemstone shaped cutout, but you know, it is what it is. I bought the product to use it and I really like it. This is minty though, so if you don't enjoy that kind of a little bit of a tingly minty sensation, not plumping by any means, but if you don't enjoy that minty flavor, then I don't recommend this one for you. Here's number 04. I really love that there's a tiny mirror in the top of this, since applying a tinted balm can be a little bit risky if you're not paying attention. That slippy formula can make it easy to accidentally color outside of your lip lines. But this color is natural enough on me that it really doesn't matter. I can smack this on even on a moving train and not worry about it looking crazy if I make a little bit of a mistake. As you can tell, it's just a barely there hint of color with enough shine that it looks like your lips are just healthy and moisturized and like you drink a lot of water, which I do, but it doesn't always look like it. Now, unlike that melty shimmer blush from earlier, this product actually is considered a highlighter. This is the Jill Stuart Nuance Pearl Highlighter. This, I believe, is from a while ago. I want to say the summer collection or something like that of last year. This is 01 Seashell Wonderland. And again, Ichiban Mara is just my savior when it comes to getting a hold of these limited edition products. I don't know how they managed to keep their stuff in stock for so long. Maybe it's just a well-kept secret that I'm now exposing. Please don't sell all this stuff out before I get my hands on it, guys. But yeah, this is a stunning highlight. It's much more natural looking than the melty shimmer blush. You wouldn't think that from looking at it. I'm struggling with the packaging because my nails are so long. You wouldn't think that based on the product in the pan, since it's that kind of pinky, almost unicorn looking color, but it does turn out to be super, super sheer. If you're a no makeup girly and you still want that princess treatment and super glamorous packaging, I think you would really like this one. It looks like healthy skin. Again, I know I say this about all the highlighters that aren't super glittery, but it actually does take a couple layers for it to show up even on my hand, which can be a con for people that don't like to apply a lot of product, but I love just how layerable this is. I can choose exactly how much highlight I want and where I want to put it. So on the rare occasion where I do want a no makeup day, this is definitely what I'm reaching for. And here's another product from that same mermaid, Crystal Lagoon collection. Maybe that's the name of it, I'm not sure. This is number 16, Sun-Kissed Sunstone. I already own one of these circular flower-shaped eyeshadow palettes from Jill Stuart that I actually got to buy in Japan, so I thought I knew what I was getting into with this formula. But since I didn't get to swatch this one, it's actually a little bit different than I was expecting. I love the blue tint on this packaging. I think that's super gorgeous, and like I said, this one is number 16. Here's what it looks like compared to the regular release of their flower-shaped eyeshadow palettes. I believe these are the Bloom Bouquet palettes, I want to say, but you can see that it really has that Crystal Lagoon looking tint to it. I love that, and I think it's a great way to be able to differentiate from the palettes, since otherwise they all kind of look the same. I bought this particular palette for one shade, that blue on the left, although I'm not mad about any of the other shades either. I have really been loving blue eyeshadow lately, so I was happy to add another blue to my collection since I only have maybe 2 or 3. Like I said, I thought I knew what I was getting into when I bought this eyeshadow palette, but the formula is actually completely different from the one I already own. Rather than being actual like pigmented shades, these are very sheer, sort of glittery top coats. I wasn't sure how I felt about it when I first swatched it, but now that I've applied it to my eyes, I think these are absolutely beautiful. I have a lot of natural pigment on my eyes already, so even if I just apply this over a bare lid with no concealer or primer, it just gives my natural sort of gray, bluish tint a really interesting, almost unicorn-like shine. I know that's kind of hard to picture when I'm just verbally describing it, but trust me, this formula is really interesting and fairly unique in terms of eyeshadows that I have in my collection. I definitely don't have another palette like this. I recently attended a fairy-themed birthday party for my cousin, and I actually used this palette all over the face. I used the purpley pink on the right side as a highlight and then the blue on my eyes, and I got tons of compliments on my makeup. I just think this is a really versatile palette that you can use in so many ways. So that's everything for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I know I've been doing a lot of hauls on my channel recently. I've been trying to break them up with some other videos, but like I said, I wanted to get ahead of the tariffs and make my big purchases early. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I really hope you enjoyed. Come back soon.